Welcome to another episode of our Unicorn Leader interview series here on the C-Suite podcast. My name is Russell Goldsmith, and together with Debbie West, we are thrilled to be joined online from New York by Jonathan Cherki, the CEO of Contentsquare, a leading digital experience analytics platform. Founded in 2012, the company achieved unicorn status in January 2020 and reached a valuation of $5.6 billion following a raise of $600 million in 2022. Welcome to the show, Jonathan. Now, first of all, before we get into the crux of the content, thank you so much for doing this podcast right now, because I believe this is a rather busy time for you and the family. I understand your wife is due to give birth to your fourth child anytime soon. Is that right?
It's right. Hello, Russ. Hello, Debbie. Exactly. I'm expecting a baby number 4. So I have a 9 years old, 6 years old, 3 years old, and anytime soon we should have another baby girl. 2 boys, 2 girls. Maybe a soccer team is growing in our family. But super exciting for this new step in our life.
That's fantastic. Well, yeah, congratulations for whenever that happens, and good luck with everything. And we'll try and get through this as quickly as we can, just in case you get a phone call any minute now. So
if I receive a phone call, maybe it will be a moment in your podcast when you will remember that in live a baby appears in this podcast.
That would definitely be a first for us. Listen, Jonathan, let's start. Tell us a little bit more about Contentsquare then.
So I started Contentsquare in 2012 when I was in Paris. And for you to know, it's a company I should not have developed. My grandfather created 70 years ago a dry vegetables company, like beans. My father is working with my grandfather. My brother is working with my father. So I should run the family business. And I was passionate about maths and statistics, and I started in a student project that transformed in a live project. I've never worked anywhere except Contentsquare. The first 4 years we bootstrap in Paris from 2012 to 2016, from 1 to close to 100 people. And then of 2016, we raised $20 million and I moved from Paris to New York, early 17, to launch our US activities. And long story short, the company raised a lot of capital. We'll discuss about it. We bought several companies. And we tried to make a Contentsquare one of the greatest analytics company of the world, to make the online experience frictionless, delightful, by analyzing the behavior of the people, by analyzing user interaction on a mobile app or mouse movement on a website, by respecting the privacy that we consider it as a key pillar of the future digital society. And the technology is providing a lot of insight and recommendation about how you can improve the experience. The content, the customer journey, the errors, the loading time, everything that can impact the process of decision making.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you mentioned you started the business in Paris and moved to New York. What prompted that move?
So, the first 4 years, it was really about bootstrapping and starting the company to look if our market could be a huge market. And when I started in 2012, the focus was much more in acquisition. Make more people come to the website. At the time, you have Google with a search or Salesforce with CRM, but cost of acquisition is very high. Traffic is on mobile today, and conversion rate is low. On 100 people going to the website, 3 are buying. On 100 people going to a physical store, 30 are buying. So the topic of improving the experience is more and more strategic. And so when we started the business, we proved that we could have a good business opportunity in Paris. At the time, at end of 2016, we showed that we were able to export the business in UK. So we started London office early 2016. And if you want to create a worldwide category leader, you have to be in the biggest market. And at the time, the US was the biggest market in terms of e-commerce. So that's why just after raising our Series A, about $20 million, I decided to move to the US to confirm that we could have a worldwide impact. And I decided to go myself there with my family to really play all in this adventure. And at the time we were speaking about babies, I already had one that was born in France. The second one was on the way, and in 2 to 3 months we quickly moved and decided to go to New York. And the choice of New York has been done because we saw much more customer at the time in New York than in West Coast. And also in terms of jet lag for a founder moving to Europe, to the US, on top of adapting to a new environment and a new culture, it was much more manageable 6 hours than 9 hours. And I love New York.
I was going to say, but you're clearly, clearly still proud of your French roots, because I spotted you posted about being named in the French top 100 economic leaders recently, and in fact you came in at number 3. So what's your thoughts around that?
I was not sure you will recognize my French accent. I'm joking. And, as you can tell, you can see it's very well here. And I think it's important to not forget where we come from. Actually, the HQ remains in France. We are around 2,000 people in the Contentsquare group today, around 600-700 people in the Paris office, a lot of R&D. I think there are a lot of also good assets in France. Today, the quality of the engineering is very good. You are hearing more and more AI company coming from France. The loyalty, the cost also, and the price of the people is much more affordable by comparison to other regions like the US. So I think there is a good ratio quality price loyalty in France. On top of that, the government has done a lot to support innovation in the region. And for us, we started in France with a lot of customers there. We think that it's part of our journey, even if today the company is mainly global, because we have 17 offices all over the world, in UK, in Germany, in Nordics, in Middle East, in New York, San Francisco, Australia, Singapore, Japan. So we can really consider ourselves today a global company, but with a French touch.
Let's dig a little bit deeper into some of that investment that we've touched on, and obviously I mentioned it at the top of the podcast. I said that you, when you became a unicorn, it was off the back of the $600 million raise. When I looked through your website, it actually states that you've raised 1.4 billion in total funding, which obviously is quite a huge number. Are you able to break down where that money has been invested to date?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Actually, we raised a lot of capital, but we had a good, let's see if it's good, but at least a strategy to deploy this capital and make it work. So when you look into it, I think there are different components. Element number 1 is about innovation. I think it's very important for us to fuel innovation, in particular in this market when you are using a lot of data. And so we consider that if you really would like to develop one-stop shop analytics platform, we needed to develop a lot of expertise. Some of them are in-house, some of them were not in-house. And so another element was to accelerate in the M&A front. So if you look in our stories, the last 4 years, we acquired 8 companies. Could be for geo penetration, R&D, segment of the market. We cover SMB, mid-market, enterprise. We started enterprise with Contentsquare. That is our DNA. But through the time, we decided that it was important also to tackle the SMB market, to have a PLG, product-led growth motion. And that's why we acquired Hotjar. That is really part today of who we are as a company. We just recently acquired a company named HIP to reinforce our product. That is an analytics platform that helps to have a 360 view of the user, following the same user from web to mobile app to physical store, to really work on the retention of the user, cohort LTV analysis, so you can really activate the user at the good moment of time. We consolidate also our market. 4 years ago, we acquired a company named ClickTail that was at the time one of the competitors of the company. And for us, it was a good way to accelerate our go-to-market in the US that is today our biggest market. So when you look into that, go-to-market, geo, technology, people, expertise, we also acquire an AI company to bring much more value to our data approach. And when you look at overall the strategy of the company, what we did is we took analytics capabilities that were embedded in two different markets to put it into one-stop shop platform. And we think there is an opportunity to create a worldwide leader in analytics, as you can have for sales, like Salesforce for sales or Adobe for marketing, the same for analytics and experience. And actually, when you take a decision in your life, Russ or Debbie, it's influenced by a lot of criteria. Could be the feedback of your partner, the loyalty to the brand, the price of the product itself, the content, the customer journey, the errors, the loading time. There are plenty of criteria. And it's the same online. And that's why we try to bring all these analytics capabilities, all these use cases into one platform. If I give you a concrete example, a slideshow of a website could be very good for engagement or conversion, but bad for losing time. And today it's much more siloed at the approach. So we really believe that there is a strong value for customers to have a platform approach to analyze the experience of the user in a context where more and more people are going online, more and more people are using their mobile, and the conversion rate remains low. The experience, the quality of the experience remains pretty low by comparison of the amount of traffic. And we think we can change that. We can have a very positive impact to change the way the company are offering online experience, would it be on web or mobile app.
It's really interesting to hear you talk about how you've grown through that innovation, through recognizing those challenges for companies and also through acquisition. So you mentioned that the US is now your biggest market. And I love your earlier description that you're a global company with a French twist. So what does that mean in terms of how the company is structured now? Where are your people predominantly located and how does that work?
So we have 1,900 people today. As I told you, 17 offices across the world. In terms of R&D, we have 3 main hubs, or even 4 now with the last acquisition. One in Paris, the first one in Israel, since we acquired an Israeli company. One in Barcelona, that is a good hub for us. And one in the US since the acquisition of HIP. And for all the other areas, it's mainly go-to-market, meaning marketing, sales, customer success in our offices in Paris, Milan, London, Amsterdam, New York, Singapore, Cairo, where we have also some support, Sydney, Munich, Madrid, Barcelona, Denver, Tel Aviv, Tokyo, Dubai, Lyon, and Rennes. I think I didn't forget any of them. In terms of approach, we have also an hybrid work, post-COVID and post-acquisition of Hotjar. That was a full remote company, a 100 remote company. We have 3 main geo, EMEA, where we started, North America, mainly the US, and APAC. We have a clear sales organization for all the different regions, and our executive team is between Paris, New York, and San Francisco mainly.
With those companies that you mentioned, a few that you've acquired, so Heap and Hotjar, ClickTower, I think you said as well. How do those acquisitions come about? Are they easy deals to do? How long does the process take, and what's the kind of decision-making process behind them?
I would say first, acquisition is hard. And M&A is very hard, and it requires to have at least a plan and a clear detailed plan shared by all the stakeholders to make it work. When you look at our story, it's really a key muscle of our expansion to be able to accelerate our product roadmap, to take market share, to expand in different geo, to bring some expertise or some skill such as AI. And the way we structure that is we have a dedicated core dev team that is helping to source the deal, work into the market we would like to develop, create the relationship, identify the opportunity. We are meeting a lot of company at all times. And we are pretty clear because we look at the different markets we would like to develop. For this market, we look at are there big enough market? What is the CAGR, the growth rate of this market? Is it the same persona? So Contentsquare started with marketing persona, product persona, and now expanding to other persona like tech and IT. But it's important to be sure that we really expand and develop this persona. Is it easy to implement? It will be, is it 1 + 1 = 3 when you merge the different team or capabilities? Is it really valuable for the customer? And when you look at all of that, I think it helps to prioritize what should be the good acquisition to do. And it's very important to have a common project with a targeted company. And after that, we put a lot of energy on post-merger integration. We come with a really clear plan to make successful this integration. It's shared with the company, with our team. We try to answer all the questions as much as possible before even signing a deal to be sure we are very aligned. Because it's not easy when you are bringing companies that have a different approach, a different culture, and having common value, common culture is something so much important. But when you put a lot of focus and when it works, it could be a good way to accelerate your trajectory, to win time, to bring some different perspective, to make something bigger. And you know, as the biggest shareholder of Contentsquare today, I hope I will be there in the next 20 years to develop the company. I'm not fighting for the cash or for the power. I really fight to make a blockbuster. And I think we have a unique opportunity. That's why we put, let's say, a sense of urgency, a strategic approach, and valuing a lot the expertise of different people to try to create something unique all together. We are here for the long run.
That sounds great. I love that idea of creating something unique together with all those people. And you touched on the fact that common values and common culture are so important. What approaches have you taken to establish a company culture? And when you've made those acquisitions, such as Heap and Hotjar, how did that impact your company culture?
I would say that is the most important component and the most difficult also to make successful M&A. We need to have, and you always need to have, a strong company culture, a clear one, where you leverage the different workforce you may have. In our case, I think we are spanning around 70 different nationalities across dozens of countries. So before doing an acquisition, we always try to have a culture audit to map our difference, map where we have a common approach from a culture standpoint, from the way we are working. And as an example, Contentsquare has historically had a more in-office culture that was also impacting the way we are working. If I take the example of Hotjar has always been a full remote company from day one. So it's a different approach. And the reality is that our culture is not stuck. It evolves a lot over time with the people, with the culture we bring in. We are growing super fast, and it was not an easy thing. But I think that we learn a lot. We are really trying to take the good thing of every area to make something that can work. We are doing a regularly value assessment to be sure that who we are today is reflected by the values we have, and who we would like to be as a company. What I learned overall about culture is that it's super important to be surrounded with great people. There are always something you can learn from different people. It's also important to build around trust. Trust your team, help them grow. Part of our approach of Contentsquare is to go beyond, to push people to take risks, to learn from that. we really try to celebrate everything, the small, as a big milestone. We try to create a culture with transparency, sharing the vision, the results, the chat, what we are doing well, not doing well, what we can do better. We really encourage a culture of innovation everywhere because we think that the good ideas, the next big things from the company can come from everyone in the organization. And we try to invest in company culture, kickoff, culture crew, cultural ambassador. We try to adapt and evolve a lot and to develop this agility approach with continuous test and learn. And I could be a good example because as I said, this is my first company. I hope it will be the last. And it means also for myself that I need to adapt to all the steps of the company. What I am enjoying every day. And I hope all the team people of Contentsquare today and tomorrow will keep learning.
That sounds like a really positive approach. And in terms of actually internal communications, keeping all of those employees engaged and informed about the strategy and the culture, how personally involved are you in that process?
Very. I'm very involved. In my organization today, our chief of staff and communication officer is really leading the com in terms of organization. It's very close to me. We have annual worldwide kickoff with the team. Used to be in person before COVID, a little less since then. And we try to share to the team the result of the previous year, what we are trying to do by 10 years, 3 years from now, what will be the goal and the objective for the coming years. Every quarter, we have all hands where we have all of our leadership coming in, sharing what we are doing and what we are planning to do. I'm going to the office every day. I'm traveling also a lot to try to meet a lot of our team members. We try to avoid to have a lot of hierarchy in the organization, to develop a lot of proximity. That's part of who we are.
Jonathan, we did our first Unicorn Leader interview back in 2019, and obviously quite a lot's changed in that time. And because we've now launched this new season of interviews, one of the things that I'm asking all the leaders that are joining us is whether or not they think the term unicorn is still relevant. What do you think?
I don't have a strong opinion about the term unicorn or not. I know that, and we can believe into that they are not a real animal. That being said, at Contentsquare, we prefer rhino. Rhino is more the symbol of companies. This is our animal, because I think that the rhino could have a good sense of the opportunity with the corn. They did not, or it seems that they are not feared to go and break the wall. So this is our little animal. But more seriously, I think valuation is important for everyone within the organization, but it's not my key focus. As you understand, we are here for the long time.
Yeah.
We are here for the next 20 years. We really want to have a positive impact on what we are doing. We are not just fighting to have a big number. We are fighting to do great. As an example, we recently developed the Contentsquare Foundation to help a lot of people to have better access to online content. Could be blind people, people with impairness, people who have a dyslexia. And for you to know, there are 1 billion people on Earth that have difficulties to access to online content. 70% of the content of the website are never viewed, and they can't really see it. So we really would like to help this topic. I know that a lot have been done in the physical world, less on the digital world. That is part of the Contentsquare Foundation to help the universities, the individuals, the enterprise to make the online accessible for everyone. And we are at the first step of what we are doing, but we think that we can have a positive impact between the 1,000 of big enterprise customers we are working with, and it's impact a lot of traffic, but also leveraging the 1 million plus customers that are using the Contentsquare technology every day on their website to make the website accessible. So that is one of the impact topics we are working strongly in Contentsquare, and we believe we have a role to play.
That's brilliant. Is that linked to your digital experience benchmark report, or is that something completely separate? Because I wanted to ask you about that as well. I saw that on your website. It'd be just good to understand some of the trends that you see as shaping the customer experiences at the moment.
So it is not directly linked to that. The digital experience benchmark is more an initiative where we are sharing data based on of billions of that data points we are collecting every day on the website of our customer. As an example, it's something we recently published. The traffic last year went down. We saw a lot of verticals that saw a decline in their traffic. At the same time, the cost of acquisition was going up. And that's why I think it's important for the company to focus much more on the retention of their own user. We see also an increase of frustration. People are more and more frustrated when they go online. Would it be loading time that is high? People are clicking several times on a short period of time. They saw some error. So frustration impact 2 out of 5 online sessions. We see mobile keep increasing in terms of traffic. It's over 70% of the traffic. And we see that the way that different verticals are investing their acquisition traffic is changing between paid social and paid search in terms of ROI. So what we try to do is not just based on our expertise, just based on a lot of data we're collecting for each vertical, just sharing it to the world so they can compare themselves. It's an easy diagnostic to understand where they should focus first to improve the quality of the experience.
And a key topic that we discuss quite a lot at the moment is AI. And of course, your platform has AI-powered insights. So could you tell us how important is AI for you? And also, how much of a challenge is it to keep up with the pace of innovation in that space?
AI, I would say very, 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 very important. It's a central focus for the company. That could be a lot of value creation to bring much more efficiency internally, much more value also for our customer. So if we look overall, our approach consists on trying to serve 2 goals. That's 2 goals. Deeper insight and better understanding of the user behavior. Automation of complex processes. And today we already have several capabilities, use cases that use AI around AI alert, frustration score. And when it comes to understanding customer, I really believe that AI can help to bring a much more context to understand better what are the intention of the user, to understand their needs. And in a landscape that is constantly evolving, AI could be a strong accelerator of innovation. So good news is we have been working into it. Mid-June, we will be releasing some exciting product update, including some new AI stuff. And I think we can do much more. We are at the very beginning of the evolution of this market. And that's super exciting. That's super exciting for everyone. We are also starting to train much more people within the organization. So in each department, they can start to leverage AI, learn into it, try some stuff like ChatGPT. I think it's also a question of mindset. To make it very valuable, it takes time, but I really believe that it should have a positive impact for a lot of topics.
Jonathan, we've been chatting for almost half an hour, which is what we said we'd keep you for. So I've got one final question for you, and just picking up and listening to what you're saying about the AI stuff. Apart from the bits that you just touched on there, what's next for Contentsquare? Can you share any of your kind of developments for the next 12 to 18 months, maybe?
In the next 12 to 18 months, you will see we'll do a lot of announcement around our platform, bringing a lot of different technology and value for customers, of all size, small customer, mid-size, big one. A lot of innovation coming in through this one-stop shop platform, but also through AI. We will also keep investing in our go-to-market in current territories, US, Europe. MENAT is also something very promising, Middle East, same for Asia. And I think developing this strong culture where everyone bringing innovation will be something very, very important. We will keep also focusing on efficiency. AI will be one of the motor for that, but I think we can be more and more efficient all together. And I hope, and we will do our best, because I think the best is really in front of us. The next 12 to 18 months will be super exciting, and I use the opportunity to thank our fantastic team, all of our different stakeholders, because Contentsquare could not be anything without you. So thanks a lot. This is just the beginning.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing all of that, and also good luck from the personal point of view as well with the forthcoming baby.
Maybe I will pick Debbie, or we will pick Debbie as a nickname. Let's see.
Oh, how about that?
I love
it will be more my wife that will make the decision, but let's see.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much. But for now, Jonathan Cherki, thanks for joining the podcast.
Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Listen, we'd love to hear your comments on today's chat. You can do that by sharing them on any of our social media feeds. Those are all linked from the top of our website at csuitepodcast.com, where you'll also find all our previous shows and supporting show notes, plus links to where you can follow us on the likes of Spotify and Apple. And if you like what you heard, please do give us a positive rating and review. If you are a unicorn leader yourself and you'd like to be part of this series, please do get in touch via the contact form on the website at csuitepodcast.com. Plus, of course, anyone can get in touch with any feedback you may have. And finally, you can also find both me, Russell Goldsmith, and Debbie West on LinkedIn. But for now, thanks for listening and goodbye.